Hi everyone. Alright, we haven't done one of these in a while. So we're going to go off the cuff with a little bit of prep and a lot of inspiration about Juno. If you don't know, we'll talk a little bit about her, and then if we have time, we'll choose cards for each of the signs. So, what is Juno? Juno is a star that was discovered in 1804, a long time ago. She is the Roman goddess of marriage and relationship, commitment, family, love, children. She's the patron of all these things. In the Greek stories, she's called Hera. Very powerful feminine energy, lots of responsibility. And her in her chart will show a bit of what we expect out of relationships or what we're meant to work through natally, and then transitorily is like giving an extra lesson. You could aspect that from yours if you want an extra layer. But yeah, she will illustrate and sort of shape our future sort of around all of these things, right? Marriage, relationship, commitment, love. This is what we're here for as humans, is to work with other humans. And the end game, I believe, for most would be I want my relationships with, again, family, my spouse, any commitments, business, even business wise, right? Any human interaction is of peace. And tropically speaking, Juno has been in Libra August 9th through November 3rd. And now it's shifting into Scorpio, which will... Oh, cute. Little black dog, curly tail, sort of yellow paws, spiked ears for some of you. Okay, so yeah, it's moving into Scorpio. And it will be in Scorpio until February, let me see my notes, 19th, where it will shift into Sag. And then on April 15th, it goes back into Scorpio, and it will be retrograde. So it's kind of like now and through that time, when we get to the middle of April, we've learned a lesson, right? There's something really beautiful there, because the positive aspect, or the positive parts of Scorpio are deep healing. They are lessons of devotion, of trust. Again, I keep seeing the word healing. So, but as we move into Scorpio, and this being so strong in Scorpio time, it doesn't always happen like that. With the sun being in Scorpio as this enters, it could very well bring some things to light, right? It could be hidden truths, sure. But it could also be things that are also known that are now healing. It depends like what level it's at. So that's something to be aware of. I also, when I was tapping into this too, I feel like this is an everybody thing, but sexual trauma or trauma that has been around really deep, intimate relationships, however that comes for you, has came through for you. There could also be really great healing, or one of the two partners, Juno being partnership, could be healing through that. So patience may be needed. I mean, it could be your children, it could be your spouse, what have you. And sometimes we may not even know, because it's Scorpio and hidden, right? Like, we may not know that a person is grieving something, some partnership that we have, but and of course we're grieving our own, but like, it's being sensitive to that, because Scorpio can bring obviously great intensity, really, really great intensity. So it's very important also, this could be specific to entering into any kind of new relationship, in ways of really ensuring that the energy is aligned for partnerships that truly deserve your loyalty and respect, right? Because again, this partnership, and that's what's beautiful about Juno prior to this point going through Libra, which is what are my contracts with the relations that I have? What are the contracts that I have with myself? How am I showing up in that? How do I need to show up in that? What's appropriate to be around me? It can even also be money, right? Remember, marriage specifically originally was, and to some extent can still be, very contractual. You're making an agreement with someone to work through things even when it's tough, right? And I guess if at any juncture there's toughness going on in relation, I feel like we're talking really fast, that could become maybe more intense. So where are your support systems, right? For instance, if it's marriage, it could be, okay, this is your spouse, that's a support system, but we have any relationship, really. Family, your children, even professionally, however you need that kind of support, that can also be available to you. But as Scorpio, to me, is also a very independent sign, like, I'm going to do what I want. A lot of the fixed signs are like this. You're this... Well, we need that sometimes, right? That push. But we also need to be, again, back it up into Libra and ensure that, again, what is the alignment of energy between you and what you are, again, responsible for or connected to. And something to note also is so Juno looks like this. It's like a star, and then the plus sign represents Earth. So it's sort of these two worlds. To me, Juno is like earthly and spiritual, because we know when well, I just saw where two things combined that were very soulful, and well, that's beautiful. Good. You have that. You can build that with new places too. Little astrological exercise. You can find Juno in your map, but Hera is also a separate star, which is fascinating. I didn't know this until I like connecting Greek stories to astrology through the map. It's interesting exercise. But anyway, Hera's in there also. Hera is sort of the shadow version of Juno. Because when she doesn't feel, she's gone through a lot, right? But she makes her mistakes too. No one's perfect in this scenario. But she can represent like control, like the negative, sort of the shadow parts of Scorpio can very much come through Hera energy. For instance, Murray Hope says that here's her psychological comment on Hera. It says, Hera expresses the anima, or the feminine soul, through the role of the strong, dominant woman, who is capable of using her femininity in a having and holding way. When crossed, sort of this part, when crossed, Hera types can become ruthless, but as friends they can prove invaluable. Hera is the faithful wife and mother, forever hovering in the background, but nevertheless angered by her husband's infidelities, about which she appears to be able to do very little. Although I really did you watch that Chaos show with a K? where it showed a different like version of Hera, like again, because she's not perfect either, she also gave infidelities, if we could say it as such. You know, she wasn't 100% faithful to everything all the time either. So again, it's like an eye for an eye energy won't really fix the problem, you know. Oh, this is interesting. He says young, rather, she says young divided women into four main archetypal categories: Mary the mother, Eve the temptress, Helen the heroine, and Sophia the intellectual. This theme is echoed by Edward Whitmont, no E, in The Symbolic Quest, in which he suggests that all women unconsciously identify themselves with the mother, the Heteria or the Courtesan, the Amazon, or the medium. Hera's place in both of these categorizations is obvious, which says much for the interpretation of her. This is a really rad, if you want to learn Greek mythology, this is a really awesome deck. Okay. So, I guess we've gone over that. Did we talk about how she also is a way for our intimacy needs to be met? Demetra George says, if these needs are denied, then Juno will signify the subsequent neurotic interactions that we will experience. Juno in the house, whatever house she sits in, so you could look to your Scorpio house. This is also, if you're learning natally, you could look to this house. It says Juno's aspects to the planets, Juno and the houses show where we are most likely to experience the need to relate, and in what area of life experiences we will encounter for our most important relationship lessons. I keep seeing Jupiter, and Jupiter is Hera, or is her husband, the Zeus, right? So we want to be able to trust both sexes. You know what I mean? We want to be able to trust each other. Okay. Do we have time? I think we do. That would be awesome. I'd love to get, let me see, a pen and a do. Alright, 1 second. What are we at now? Let's do 1331. I like mirrors. We'll start with Scorpio. Yeah, we're there. When's the last time you made a bundle? You want some? Alright, Scorpio, let's see. We're going to look at the story. Scorpio. Oh, interesting. You received the Mastermind and the Page of Swords. So this is a great time of learning. Some of you may be studying relationships. I like that we're just quiet and listening and smiling. That's pretty chill, right? Because really, I guess the lesson sometimes where Juno is also going to the other side of it. Juno in Taurus is a Venus energy. It is soft and comfortable. Good. I guess you'll be reading and writing in this time, learning. There's some interesting ideas that come to you. I feel like this is also a beautiful time to date yourself, regardless of your relationship. Ensure that you're folding that in. I know this seems basic, but we all need a reminder, because when you're such a giving, loving person, and you're sensitive to energy, that's a lot to handle. You know what I'm saying? So you want to give yourself downtime to be in relation with you. And I saw someone actually like read, again, they're reading a book, but that sort of turned into like a sacred text of sorts, something that really, I don't know, it's like where you find your book, or you find your author, you find your teacher in some kind of way. This is sort of reminding me of Mercury and Sag too, which is another way to look at things, especially if we're quiet, a really beautiful additional way to look at and to implement what has already been learned. And then I saw someone brushing up. Yeah, yeah, brush up. Brush up. I want one more on this. What do we want to do? Well, let's go with the slow tarot. Do you know this deck? Lacey Bryant. They're beautiful. I believe they're oil paintings. I feel like this is a quiet time for you. I keep seeing someone reading by a lamp. Oh, the star. Yeah, so that's more learning. This is also an expression of, oh, you're almost there with something. Someone's so close to something, but sometimes they feel far away. I think this has to do with past energy and allowing that to wash away. Maybe that's something you'd want to write about if you're writing. I feel like someone's reading someone else's story, so like an autobiography or biography. I guess the stories that we surround ourselves by are interesting, even if that comes through like book or film or what have you, right? What are our friends' relationships like? It's not meant to be judgy, it's just curious, because we're going to reflect this, right? Queen of Cups. Look how happy she is. It took her a long time to smile. She's one of those kind of people, I'm a little bit like that, where you can tell that someone they cried more than they smiled most of their life, right? So it just became something else, but now someone's doing. So, good energy. The Queen of Cups and the Star. Yeah, maybe some of you are studying astrology over this time period. Or that's some of your relations or the groups. It could be the groups you're a part of too. But I feel like the study is independent. There's already things that, and I keep seeing the word do. So some of you aren't a part of something and you need to be. Because this could also be like I'm in my own little zone. I'm in my own little bubble. But if it goes to that extreme, remember, part of our karma, this lesson was so beautiful. Thank you so much for your lessons. The lesson you taught about we have to go out into the world to do our due diligence. I love testing myself. In ways of an exchange of karma and energy. Now, of course, like at times do we need to just go within and find our own space? Of course, Queen of Cups, yes, be comfy, right? So someone throws a tea party. Oh, you're balancing? Ah, this is so cool. Astrologically, you're balancing Cancer to Aquarius. So this is I know and I feel. I know how I know how I feel. I know I feel. You can. And it's interesting because if a person was to say, well, I feel, I know, it seems uncertain, right? But if it's, I know, I feel. But I heard that's coming from a calm place, and it's important to keep that near. So there is something that a person has to let go of control, because this is also, I heard, do what you will. You meet someone from another place. This is also the balance of Moon and Saturn. So what are we talking about? Stuck old feelings. Maybe in the body, maybe in relation to where we came from, or sexual energy again. But what's important here to know is I feel like this shows great awareness and, again, healing. Okay. Look for stars in Cancer too. Those are hard to see, right? It's very dark there. So we're searching for a little light in a really big dark space. I guess we have tools to help us to achieve that. Maybe it's something you already have. Maybe it's something that somebody else has that you can borrow. And then I saw someone returning something and putting it specifically like back where it came from. Okay. Can we just make this like a collective reading? I don't really feel like separating all this energy because we're all learning the same things in our own ways, right? Because I know I won't be able to like put forth that kind of dedication at this point in that time frame. Oh, that's also, Moon Saturn. Oh, interesting. Thank you. Moon Saturn would also be I am aware that of my body. Saturn, I'm more aware of my body. And again, therefore, the energy. Right, Queen of Cups is water. We are 70% water, so there's something about that being, I heard, being clear and clean. Someone's like a master astrologer, or like they're very interesting in what they know. Like someone could be going to school and you could graduate. A parent is very a parent or a family member, somebody that really, you love them and they love you too, and they're so proud of you. I heard again, you're almost there with something. Let's see another part of the story. Oh, love. Ding, ding, ding. Great. I heard can't hurry love, can't buy love. Some of you will have to wait. Because is love an energy, pardon me, is love an energy that just is, like always is, or is it something that we have to create? I mean, I feel like we probably have at least a speck of it because we have a bit of everything in us, right? So how do you replenish? Because that's sort of what I saw when we were talking about that. Like, hey, some of you are going to have to wait. Is being conscious again of your energy, because if our connectiveness of our relations are, I heard big and beautiful, well, that's kind of a big plate, right? So okay, so again, someone's becoming conscious of energy. Good. Just a minute. Okay, so your inner child says you're very smart. You're very smart. You ask very good questions. It's also good for you to be on your bare feet and to wear your hair down. I heard wear what feels comfortable to you. You're going to see two hawks or two birds together, and well, I guess you're smarter than you think that you are. But this, I like that the inner child always wants to learn. She's always asking questions. Like, what do you mean? You know, instead of assumptions like, oh, okay, I felt this way when that was said, or when I heard that, and get defensive, it would be like, well, wait, what did you mean by that? Right? Different inflection. So a person could also be becoming more conscious of vibrancy is the word that's coming through. Vibrancy or frequency. I also see this as sort of inflection. Someone's a musician too, right? Your strength right now is love. Your strength right now is love. I think there was a time, I hope this doesn't come off wrong, I hope the words come through right. But what's in your section of what scares you, or the shadow, is this Queen of Cups, which makes me feel like there's not as much fear because she's happy in this. I can see that she's happy. But I think there was a time in the past when someone felt happier, or I heard again, you'll get there. You're almost there. What's she looking at? Well, maybe it would be good to know the times, memories that you have that bring great joy. That when you go back in your body and your feelings about it, you just love that. You can go back there. Because I feel like it's innocent. It's not like cheating in your mind. It's not that. It's more like that was so much fun. It's kind of something that you could do with anyone. Interesting. Let's look at one more. Lesson from the past. "14 years ago?" "16 years ago?" Someone's a genius. Like what they can put together, the pieces and how they do it. It's complex though, not everybody will understand it. So I guess because you're so smart, multifaceted, intelligent, again, and you want this, then part of what you're connecting to, like this spider web, is understanding like, okay, it's not I'm restricted, I can't talk about this with this person, but they're just not going to bother to go down that line in a certain way because they understand that they don't understand that little part of you, or they don't have the knowledge. Someone doesn't have the knowledge that someone else does. That's fine. Talk to the people in your circle, in your again world that does understand that. And maybe what's happening is a person's figuring out like these different parts of themselves, and then working with that correctly to understand how to find support systems for that when necessary. And of course it's not always leaning on someone else. It's something that's, again, Juno reciprocal, right? Has love and respect in it. Okay. Getting a reading, like a chart, it could be like with this mastermind and the star. It's like some kind of astrologer, or again somebody who's. It could even be a person that could just lead you a little bit in a direction, right? She has the sextant here. It's kind of like this is the way. Maybe it's more like some of you find like a mentor, where it's more like this is the way, but they're not going to do it for you, right? It'd probably have more questions than it would just be affirming some subconscious feeling of what we're having. Do you know what I mean? Okay. Okay, I wanted to say that, but you see what Spirit just did? They was like, nope. So maybe that's that. I guess so. High Priestess, yeah. I hope this was helpful. Yeah, maybe I'll try to go through sign by sign as we have a little bit of time. So, but either way, I hope that was helpful. Thank you for being here. Have happy Scorpio season. Happy birthday, Scorpio. It's going to be a good year. That's what I heard. Good. That'd be great. It's going to be a 9, right? It's been an 8 year. Juno went through Virgo, Libra, and now in Scorpio. That bigger piece of the pie is pretty intense, right? It's like nothing, everything, and then trying to find the middle, right? This is too hot, this is too cold. Libra's like, this one's just right, right? We're trying to find that balance. But next year, we'll be moving into a 9 energy. And that'll be Sag, Scorpio, and then back into Sag. So that's actually a lot of fire and passion. I heard let's just use that in the right way. Because I saw someone take a flaming sword and like stick it in themselves. Like we don't. Some of you need to know to not beat yourself up so much. Remember, your inner child says you are so smart. And whatever it is that you've been putting energy into through this Juno lens, I guess, and what she's trying to say is you end up, well, in some kind of really beautifully great position. It shows that you're going in the right direction. And Spirit is saying have patience, especially until the new year, right? Especially until January. And if there are any, again, old relationships, I'm sure we mentioned this to some extent, but I see it again. Old relationships that are very complex and have a lot of layers to them. This could also give a beautiful time to put another polish on that healing so that it's smoother, so that there's no little pickers. You know what I mean? So take advantage of that. Some of you may have to reach out for that. It may not be something that just comes to you. Because, right, we can't heal unless we want to, really. Right, we never really learn anything unless we want to learn it. And apparently you do. Apparently you do. And presently you are using that energy correctly. Seemingly. Right? Because there's no manipulation in love. Right? We can't force anybody to love us no matter what we do. And maybe that's part of the shadow here with this Queen of Cups. Could be if I, again, there are those parts of love where we've said to ourselves, well, if I change who I am, then they'll if I behave, they'll behave, right? They, no. It either will or it won't. In that sense.